In this week's AMT John Deere Fresh Produce Market overview, made possible by John Deere and FieldNet Pivot Watch, we focus on AVO prices that increased and also discuss why it is likely to get more expensive as we head towards the end of this year. We also take a look at the latest blueberry prices and discuss what we expect for the next few months. All in this week's episode, so make sure to stay tuned. The rand stayed on a stronger level of 17.71 per US dollar and is hovering at over a one-year high, mostly due to a weakening dollar and the increased likelihood of an interest rate cut in September. Domestically, the South African Reserve Bank is anticipated to cut interest rates by 25 basis points to 8% at the next meeting on September 19th, marking the first reduction in over 2 years amid encouraging inflation data. Brent crude oil future prices traded around $81.40 per barrel on Tuesday, holding on to most of the recent gains driven by the ongoing supply concerns amid a near total production stoppage in Libya, along with escalating tensions in the Middle East at the moment as well. Over in the vegetable markets, we saw the average national potato price decreasing to 75 rand 3 cents per 10 kg, with volumes 39% higher week on week. The large potato price traded lower last week on 82 rand, mediums on 73 rand and smalls lower on 58 rand per 10 kg. Mondials also traded lower on 76, Cifras lower on 81 and Lenormas on 72 rand, with the average price on the Joburg market dropping to 73 rand 98 per 10 kg. The average price during August just went above the levels that we saw over the past 4 years. We also saw daily prices that started to increase this week, which can likely increase further over the next few weeks. It will be very interesting to see where these prices are headed over the next 2 to 3 weeks. The average onion price remained in its downward trend, decreasing by 6% to 55.99 per 10 kg, with brown onion prices on 53, red onions decreasing to 119, while white onion prices decreased to 55 rand per 10 kg. The average large onion price traded on 55, mediums on 63 and smalls lower on 40 rand per 10 kg. I still think we can follow a similar trend as last year, when onion prices came from high levels in May and June and then continued to decrease towards the end of the year. I therefore think we can move below the 50 rand mark next month and then stay on a lower level until December. Over in the tomato market, we saw the price increasing by 9% over the past week to 11.42 rand per kilogram, with volumes increasing by 31%. Large tomatoes traded on 12.93 rand, mediums on 11.28 rand, while smalls increased to 10.30 rand. We are seeing a bit more tomatoes on the markets, mostly due to the warmer weather we have seen, which can put some additional pressure on the price as well over the next week. However, demand is also likely to pick up, which can result in the price to most likely stay above the 10 rand per kilogram mark for now. The average carrot price decreased by 11% to 4.62 rand, with volumes increasing by 39% week on week. Large carrots traded on 5.03 rand, mediums lower on 4.09 rand and smalls also lower on 3.25 rand per kilogram. We saw the highest volumes this year during August when we compare it to the previous 4 years, but prices stayed on a relatively high level. I, however, think that the prices can start to decrease during September due to higher expected volumes. The average pepper price decreased to 17.25 rand per kilogram, while green peppers decreased to 13.16 rand, yellow peppers decreased to 13.19 rand, while red pepper prices traded about 5% lower on 33.10 rand per kilogram. The average price can get some support this week as demand is likely to improve. If you're heading to Nampo Cape this year, make sure not to miss the Zimmatic stall. They are at stand 119 and can show you exactly how FieldNet Pivot Watch can make your life easier. FieldNet Pivot Watch. Monitor any pivot, anytime, anywhere. The average cabbage price decreased to R440 last week, but already traded slightly downward this week. We're expecting this price to stay in its downward trend and trade below R3 again towards the end of this year. Garlic prices increased to R97 per kilogram and is also likely to stay in its downward trend for the remainder of this year, mostly due to higher expected volumes. The spinach price decreased by 4% last week to R461 due to higher volumes. Traditionally, we see significantly lower spinach prices in September and October due to higher volumes on the market, so expect this price to decrease significantly over the next 2 months. Sweet potato prices decreased to R7.57 per kilogram and will likely follow potato prices higher over the next 2 to 3 weeks. Expect this price to stay on a higher level during October and November and most likely also reach record levels over this period. The average pumpkin price decreased to R2.61 last week and will most likely also trade higher in September and October, but start to decrease in November again as more volumes can enter into the markets over that period. Moving over to the fruit markets, we saw the banana price increasing to R8.01 per kilogram, which is about R144 per 18 kilogram box, with volumes also increasing week on week. I still think we can remain close to current price levels for September as well, but that the price can jump in October to around the R10 mark due to lower expected volumes in October. The latest apple price increased to R10.68 last week and is now 12% higher than a year ago. If we remain on last year's price trend, we can possibly move above R13 in November when prices are expected to peak. The latest pear price remains sideways on R10.45 per kilogram and is now 10% higher than a year ago. The price will also likely remain sideways in September, but then increase significantly from October to December due to lower expected volumes over that period. The orange price decreased slightly to R5.76 the past week, with volumes increasing by 27% week on week, and will probably only see higher prices from October onwards. The AVO price increased by 15% to R20.29 per kilogram last week, with volumes 22% higher week on week. Feta is traded higher on R28.40, Haas also higher on R14.56, while Pinkerton prices increased to R16.42. We haven't quite seen the level of volumes when compared to the 2022 season, and I think it's mostly due to more fruits that can be exported this season when compared to 2022. Because this is another higher volume type season, we can stay on or just above the price levels that we saw in 2020. So if we follow a similar price trend compared to 2020, we can stay in an upward trend at least until November of this year, but not necessarily move past the R30 mark this year. The average table grape price decreased to R54.53. Pineapple prices traded higher on R11.36, lemons increased to R5.35, while the average blueberry price traded 22% lower on R68.99 per kilogram. The blueberry off-season is from February to April each year, when we usually see very high prices. However, from June to November each year, there is a significant increase in local volumes on the market, which is keeping prices on a relatively lower level. So expect blueberry prices to move closer to R30 per kilogram when we move towards the end of this year. This video is made possible by John Deere and FieldNet Pivot Watch. Visit our website at amtrends.co.za for more detailed reports, prices and videos. I'm Dr. Johnny van der Merwe and thank you for watching.